Well, yep. So in Japan, there was a 7.1 earthquake very recently, which of course rocked the world in many ways of the word itself. But it does leave open this sort of fear because every 100 to 150 years, there's actually something in Japan called a megaquake. And these megaquakes, although maybe not super rare, are rare for humans to deal with. And they are any earthquakes that are going to hit at 8 or above on the Richter scale. If you know a lot about earthquakes, having a 4 or 5 is not very happy, but most places can survive it. Having above a 6, you're starting to see some destruction. Above a 7, there's going to be a lot of a destruction. And 8, 9, above things like that, it's just annihilation almost. Mm-hmm. So this megaquake is now being feared because something like a 7.1 could be a pre-quake to the actual mega one, rather than being the culmination of a quake in itself. So the government issued a warning saying, it might be a little bit early, but there's a possibility that this megaquake is coming. Be prepared. Now for this preparation, they're saying things like, if you're indoors, try to find the most sturdy object that you can hide under. If you're outdoors, try to be in a very open area with many tall things not nearby. Mm-hmm. If you're in your car, again, open place, and then try to stay in your car for a little bit of protection if something does happen to fall. But yeah, they're kind of like, do your best, because even if we are paying attention completely and using every bit of scale that we can to try to measure when and predict when this earthquake is going to happen, we might have 1-2 minutes. It's not going to be a day, it's not going to be a week, it's not even going to be 30 minutes probably. So yeah, they're just like, be prepared. Whenever it happens, you have to be prepared. Mm-hmm. The previous megaquake happened in 1946, so we technically have until 2046 for it to be 100 years, and then of course 2096, I guess, until it's like at the very end of the 150 years. So we should have time, but we don't know. So like with many things in life, when there's just, facts of life out there that are difficult to deal with, we just have to prepare. Anyways, yeah.
As Scar teaches us in The Lion King.
Exactly.
Be prepared.
Mm-hmm. And also, what's his face? The guy who bonks on the head, the monkey guy who bonks on the head and says, "Don't forget about the past, move forward."
I don't know that.
You don't know the monkey?
The monkey? Is it an American cartoon?
It's also Lion King.
Oh, Rafiki is the
there
monkey.
We go, Rafiki.
Right.
I don't know. Moving on. Now, since we both live here in Korea, mm-hmm. I'm not going to say that I'm talking about the city here, mm-hmm. but rather when you were living elsewhere, let's say Russia or England. Mm-hmm. Were you ever worrying about earthquakes hitting those places?
Not at all. Mm-hmm. The UK is, I guess, slap bang in the middle of a tectonic plate, so we're about as far away as you can get from a fault line. And Moscow, I think, also is nowhere near any kind of fault line. I think maybe there is one further east, perhaps where the Urals are, but again, nowhere near where I was. It was never an issue. In Britain, we don't even build for earthquake protective structures. If it did happen, which I guess it could, we would crumble very quickly and very easily. Mm-hmm. We are totally unprepared in the belief that it will never happen to us.
Like, it'll never happen.
Knock on wood.
Yeah,
knock on wood.
Right? Jeez. Yeah, absolutely. There's obviously places that are more prone to earthquakes, and they're going to be better at providing safety for those earthquakes. Like Taiwan, a huge earthquake happened recently, and like one building fell down. Mm-hmm. Whereas if that same earthquake happened in, let's say, my home state in Colorado, it'd just be a level ground. Mm-hmm. The 3 buildings there would be all gone.
All three of them. Oh.
Anyways, just joking, of course. But instead of earthquakes, obviously pretty low chance. But what sort of natural disasters do have the highest chance of happening?
In the UK, it's definitely flooding. And as temperatures get a bit higher, maybe sea levels creeping up a bit, they predict it's only going to get worse. So if there is anything that sort of structurally the UK is preparing for or considering, it's flooding. Over the last 10 years, we've had more and more significant ones that have caused huge amounts of damage to property, even a few lives lost. So I think that's the one people fear the most, or feel is a realistic threat for the UK.
Do people typically know what to do if there is a flood warning?
Well, I've not lived there since flooding has become a more serious problem. I don't really know. I hope that they're, getting out there, getting into schools and on the internet and spreading the word on what to do. If they're not doing that, then they're very silly.
Okay. Well, silly government, if you aren't. On that note, go ahead and check out the vocabulary. Try to use it in your everyday English, everyday English, and we'll see you in the next one, guys. Bye.
Fact of life.
Fact of life.
Six-figure.
Six-figure.
Imminent.
Imminent.
Jinx.
Jinx.
Foreshadow.
Foreshadow.